Alright, so now we're going to take a look at flat repairs. If you've got a flat tire in the rear, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and shift your rear derailleur into the smallest gear as well as your front. What that's going to do is give you a lot more chain to work with so that it's going to be easier to pull the rear tire out of the bike. The easiest way to do this on the trail is to turn the bike upside down and go ahead and work with it like this. Next step, you want to go ahead and release this little quick release, as well as your brakes down here. Now you should be able to just pull the wheel straight out of the bike. Once you've got it out, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and pull the tire away from the pull the bead of the tire away from the wheel. Once you've done that, the tires should be on here pretty loose, and you can usually just pull the tires straight off of the wheel. If that's not the case, you should have tire irons with you. What these will do is allow you to pull the tire off of the wheel a lot easier. What you can do is grab one side of the tire with the lip on the tire iron and use that to pull the tire off of the wheel. And you can pull that half of the tire off and run the tire iron along the inside of the tire until it comes all the way off. Once you've got the tire off of the wheel, go ahead and pull your old tube out and first give the tire a visual inspection. Try to find whatever gave you the flat and pull it out. I like to carry nail clippers in my seat bag because you can usually use those to pull the thorns out without cutting yourself or having to use your fingers. And if you don't see anything in there at first glance, go ahead and carefully run your fingers along the inside of the tire. See if you can feel any thorns, but be careful when you're doing this not to cut yourself. And at this point, what you want to do is go ahead and grab the new tube and then put just enough air in it to where it turns into a circle rather than a folded up tube. At this point, you want to put half of the tire on the wheel. This is a directional tire, and a directional tire has to go on the right way. The easiest way to get your tire going on the right direction is to match the drive side of your wheel, which is going to be the side with this cluster of gears, with the label on the tire. Once you've done that, you can start by putting half of the tire on the wheel, all the way around the entire wheel, and it should easily just pop right on. At this point, you want to find the valve stem on the tube and the valve hole on the wheel, and stick the tube right into that valve hole on the wheel. Once you've done that, you can use your fingers to push the tube up into the wheel. And at that point, it's easiest to start at the valve stem when you're pushing the tire back on. What you want to do is just use your thumbs to push the last side of the tire back onto the inside of the wheel. Once you reach the very end, the tire is going to get pretty tight, and it's going to be really difficult to get it onto the wheel. So what you want to do is go ahead and make one last trip around the tire, making sure that the tire is pushed into the middle of the wheel, which is the deepest part of the wheel, so it's going to allow you a lot more tire right back here where you need it. At that point, you can usually grab the tire with your with the second knuckle on your fingers and roll the bead of the tire onto the wheel. At that point, you can go ahead and put it back into the bike. Easiest way to do this is to remember that this cluster of gears will need to be in between both of these pieces of chain. So you can just sandwich that in between the chain and get the chain onto the last gear here, which is the one that you took the wheel out on, and then just push it straight in. If you have to push too hard, odds are you're doing it wrong. You want to go ahead and pull it back out and make sure that you do have it in between both pieces of chain and on that very last gear. And it should fall right into place. Now go ahead and make sure that this quick release clamps tight. And then fill up your tire. What you want to do with the quick release, when you're tightening this quick release, go ahead and turn the opposite side of the quick release clockwise until you get it just tight enough to where you can push it in with some resistance, but you can still pull it out yourself. If you get it too tight to where you can't pull it out, it's not going to do you much good when you get a flat tire. But you want to make sure that you have this quick release about as tight as you can get it, where you will be able to pull it out yourself. When I'm pumping up the tire, I want to get it to where it's pretty firm. You've got a little bit of air in there, and then just make a trip around the tire, making sure that it's not popping off of the wheel in any spot. If it looks okay, I'll go ahead and take it up to the recommended pressure on the tire. At this point, you can go ahead and put your lock ring and your valve cap back on. And that's all it takes.